So, of course, today I was scrolling the Twitter feed and I see some different commentaries from Spottie WiFi, and it just really brought me to thinking about all the amazing things that he has done within a relatively short period of time within this whole Web3 ecosystem with his CryptoPunk. So today we're going to dive into all the amazing things that he has done to leverage his CryptoPunk and its IP into creating this massive brand being known across the ecosystem and build connections in so many different ways. Hello, I'm Taj, digitally known as Tropic Vibes, the host of Nifty Business, where we highlight NFTs and explore Web 3.0 as we move from pure speculation to creating real-world value. So before I dive into all this amazing stuff about Spottie WiFi and what he's doing to build a brand and leverage everything that's going on here, if you're interested in business and how NFT technology is being used in that, a great place to discover a lot of those things that's happening is through the weekly newsletter, niftybusinessweek.com, absolutely free. Please sign up for that. The link will be in the description and the show notes of this episode, but let's get to Spottie WiFi and all the amazing things that's happening here. So prior to Yuga Labs taking over the CryptoPunk's IP from Larva Labs, there was really no IP brand play or anything that was associated with these CryptoPunks. For the most part, when the CryptoPunks launched, it was just an art piece. It was a free claim. Then, of course, people with various insights saw that these things will probably have some sort of historical significance. They decided to sweep them up, start to really collect them. It became fairly centralized, the amount of people that own these things, and it caused the price to really take off. And these whales were then able to take advantage of some of the profits. There's nothing wrong with that, but a lot of people are just sitting on them, have not used them in any kind of way because, again, they're not building out any kind of roadmap or anything. They just launched as an art project, and then when Yuga Labs acquired them, they decided to allow free use of the IP and so forth. So what's going on here with Spottie WiFi? It is fairly unique in the sense that more than any other person that I could possibly think, not just in the music world or not just as a rapper or whatever it might be, entertainment, but just in general, I can't think of anyone else that has used the CryptoPunk's IP better than Spottie WiFi has to build a branch and to catapult himself based upon the community engagement, knowing the culture, and of course his talent. But first and foremost, what I want to say is how he positioned himself as the best and only CryptoPunk rapper alive. And I think that's hilarious in itself. The fact that he puts that little only in the bracket saying that, really there's nobody else to do this and build this whole platform based off of his character as a rapper, I think is just really cool. And if you look on the actual art, it has spots on the face and everything. Of course, anyone that has been with anything with the internet and the Wi-Fi and having Spottie WiFi understands, sees the connection here. You have a spotted CryptoPunk and then you have Spottie WiFi not being able to connect. And even some of the songs that he has, he makes reference to not being able to connect to the internet and so forth. So it's pretty cool how he makes that connection, ties it all in. He knows the culture, the words that he's using. He's collaborating with various people. And I think it's just really, really interesting. And of course, when he launched, it was the bull market. Everything was exciting. Anyone that was associated with various communities and such, they were able to just jump on that and co-sign it and help to promote it and so forth. So it was just really cool to see how he did that. First and foremost, the CryptoPunks community. And of course, anyone that saw this, they saw it as well. You know what? The more publicity he got, the more attention he got, the bigger he got, and his platform got eyes. Guess what? It just brought more attention to everyone over on the CryptoPunk side. So why not promote this guy? So that kind of took off as itself. But then he did collaborations with apes and so forth. And of course, those raging apes storming spaces and clubhouse rooms and everything, it just really helped to build his brand. And it's just really cool to see how he is so ingrained into the culture at this point that even when it got to the point of when Snoop Dogg was getting into Web3 and really associating with everything here and seeing how Spottie built up this fan base, really worked and leveraged all these different things to start to sell records, if you will, or sell songs. I'm saying sell records, really dating myself, but it's kind of cool because he has these digital vinyls and such. But yeah, he's selling his songs off of the back of the community using this IP as an independent artist. And it's really cool because it caught the notice of even Bun B, Snoop Dogg, and multiple people that were in the traditional music industry. And it was just really cool to see. I remember about a year and a half ago, if I'm not mistaken, when Spottie had a clip up where Snoop was actually referencing all the cool things that Spottie was doing, and then he wanted to work with him because, of course, he kind of gave them the blueprint to do that, even though they've been in the rap game since late 80s, early 90s, this new frontier that they were in, they looked at Spottie WiFi as the guy that they wanted to work with because he knew how to navigate these waters. So that was just really cool that you have someone as massive as Snoop. Of course, we know he's down in the trenches, ingrained in Web3, but caught notice of what Spottie WiFi was doing. So at this point, this is old news. This is like a year and a half ago this happened, and I remember when that broke, it was really exciting. But the reason why, again, what brings me back to this, I'm just watching all the things that he's doing, still releasing music, he's doing videos now, and it's not just solely hiding behind the IP of his CryptoPunk. We all know him as Spottie WiFi, the guy as the CryptoPunk. However, we now see his face in videos. He's doing different things. He's taking stages. When I was at Miami NFT week, he was on the stage, and I'm telling you, this guy absolutely dropped some fire. I made a comment of that when I was speaking about my feedback and reviews of the event. But the part that stuck out to me is just how dedicated he is. And it doesn't matter which platform he's using. He knows that as a musician, he wants to get his music out. So he's not looking at Web3 versus Web2, Spotify, or NFTs. He says his product, the thing that he's putting out, is his music, right? And I think that is a great thing to think of. If you're selling community, if you're selling law, if you're selling contracts, if you're selling experiences, movie tickets, music, movies, whatever it might be, that is your product. It is not the NFT. It is not the MP3. It is not the MP4, the video, or whatever it might be. You are selling something, some result, some experience, some emotion, some tangible product, or something that just happens to be leveraged using the blockchain technology. And that's what he did here. He used this IP as a brand. He used this image, the naming, everything, the music, to really launch himself and put him in the position to have these partnerships, to be on these stages, to have these fans in a very unique way. If he was just a random guy that was making music, as talented as he is, he probably wouldn't have lined up all of these things in such a short period of time and get the notoriety that he has. Now, that brings me to the next point. The main thing that I don't want anyone to miss out or lose sight of is his talent. This guy is genuinely talented. If you listen to his songs, you listen to the wordplay, the cultural references, you listen to the beat, the production, his charisma on the stage when he's speaking, or even after he came off the stage at the conference, he was there speaking to people for hours and hours and hours, taking selfies, and he was just there in the lobby right by the main entrance, not dodging the people, and he's really putting in the work. And if you look on this thing, he's on Twitter Spaces, he's all over the place, he's very accessible, he is very active, and he's out here actually just grinding and doing his thing regardless of what's happening. So when some people are saying it is a bear market or people aren't interested in buying music and all these other things, they can complain. Here we have a guy who has used the IP to leverage himself to do all these amazing things, and he's only building on it. And I think it is a great blueprint. Now, how can we take this out and step back for a second and look at this for someone who might not be a rapper, someone might not be a musician? Well, what did he do here? What were the things that he did right? Number one, he picked an IP that had universal respect. He picked an IP that he could build a story around. He built a lore. This CryptoPunk was a rapper. It had a character, it had a personality, and so forth. It came out in the music. Then the lyrics actually told a story about it. So when we're building out these IPs or we're trying to leverage something, if we are, let's say, trying to do something that is a family, wholesome oriented business and building a brand, well, it's probably not going to be the best choice to pick some NFT project that is all about weed and murder or, something of that nature that doesn't fit that demographics. The art might be cool. You might like it personally, but when you're building this brand to then launch off and do something interesting and attract the type of people that you want to attract, it is very important to align yourself with that. And here we have a beloved brand that is pretty neutral in the sense that, there wasn't anything crazy going on. We know that the punks, what they stand for originally and just the art and everything. But generally speaking, his character, he was able to build that story around it, make it what he wanted to, knowing that it had the respect of the NFT community and so forth. And that is a great choice in that. So when people are launching restaurants or clothing lines or music labels or whatever it is that they're trying to do and use their IP, just finding one that actually fits that particular mold and then being able to connect with that community to support whatever business it is. Because again, Doesn't matter if you're selling NFTs, you're selling burgers, you're selling music, you're selling clothes, whatever it might be, you're in the same business as everyone else, trying to get attention, you're trying to market yourself, you're trying to get support. And when it comes to getting people to spend their hard-earned money, you become a marketer at that point. So all these little touch points, being able to have an emotional connection, all these things have to really go into leveraging the IP. Sure, every project that really came out after Yuga Lab, Bored Apes, I should say, start to say, oh, we're all about the IP, you have all the rights and everything. But I would say very, very, very few have done anything with the IP. I hold thousands of IP rights, if you will, to different things. And guess what? Very few of them I've ever done anything with. Chibi Lives, you'll see, of course, I use them all over the place. I use them in my marketing, my email, and so forth. But as far as building out the story that I am putting together with that, which is another thing, I'm not even going to release that right now. I'm still putting that together. I've been working on that for about a year now. That is something that's coming down the line. But most people, when they're talking about IP plays and building things up, they are not doing that at all. They're just thinking like, oh, great, I bought this thing, I have the IP rights to it, but what are you going to do with it? So keeping all these things into the forefront, leveraging it, the community, using the talent, because talent is what made him successful. It is not all the tech and all the gadgets and all the cool things that we like to speak about. At the end of the day, if I took his exact strategy and tried to do everything he did, I would have fell flat. I would have not reached the levels of success that he has. Why? Because I can't rap. I can't produce music. I don't have the talents that he has. So I have to then leverage IP and NFTs and communities and all that stuff into things that I can do. What fits me, it fits my mold. So I open this whole thing by saying that the music was his product and everything else that he's using, Spotify and all these other tools in between, just happens to be the medium in which he's delivering it. That's the same way we have to look on whatever talent, whatever it is, whatever problem we're trying to solve, what we're building, what we're doing in this space, so whether it is telling stories, selling burgers, or whatever it is. That is our product, right? That is the end goal of promoting. That's what we're selling. And the fact that NFTs are involved are just sort of like a side note. It's almost like how Twitter is involved in your marketing, right? You're not selling your Twitter profile. You're trying to get followers or you're trying to get engagement and so forth with some other end in mind. And that's basically what he did here with his CryptoPunk. And I really am excited to see what Spottie WiFi is doing, how this is going to go in the future. And I'll leave a couple links to some of his songs. In particular, I'll leave the link to my favorite song that I heard with his collaboration with one of the apes. And I love the wordplay. I love everything in it. And also one with Art Chick. It's just great. So love to hear your feedback on that stuff. And of course, as usual, I want to thank you for taking time to listen to this as we're learning and building Web3 together. So until next time, later. The Nifty Business Arrow is not investment advice. It provides insights and information within the space. As with anything, please do your own research before making a decision whether you're making an investment or a purchase.